Widower's Revenge, a Midnight Voices iVox production. The night was raw and restless, the kind of night that prowled through every seam in the walls. Wind clawed at the old country house, hissing through the cracks like a warning from the trees outside. Kevin Callahan sat in the study, the light of a lamp glinting off the polished mahjong tiles spread across his desk. He was halfway through a solitary game when a sound cut through the house, a scream, sharp and terrified. He froze, heart pounding. "Anna?" he called, rising from his chair. The silence that followed was louder than the scream itself. Kevin ran to the doorway, his footsteps hammering down the corridor, through the hall, and into the foyer. At the bottom of the grand staircase lay his wife. Her hair fanned out across the polished wood like a dark halo. The sight drove the air from his lungs. He dropped to his knees beside her, his voice breaking. "Anna." The movement caught his eye. At the top of the stairs stood a man in a black ski mask, a knife in his gloved hand gleaming red in the lamplight. For one frozen second their eyes met, one filled with grief, the other with cold resolve. Then the intruder turned and fled into the master bedroom. The window scraped open, a blast of winter air rushed in, and the figure was gone into the night. Kevin staggered to his feet and shouted into the emptiness, "I'll find you. I swear it." The constable came at dawn, the mist from his breath curling in the morning chill. Constable Hargreaves was a stout, steady man with eyes that had seen too many tragedies. "Mr. Callahan," he said quietly, "I'm sorry for your loss." Kevin's reply was raw. "Find the man who did this." They spoke in the parlor, while the house remained unnaturally still. Kevin told him everything: the scream, the mask, the flight through the bedroom window. Hargreaves examined the muddy footprints beneath the sill and nodded slowly. Heavy tread, man-sized and, perhaps, someone who knew his way around. Kevin gripped the mantel. He knew the window sticks unless you lift the left side first. "He's been here before." "Any enemies, sir?" the constable asked. Kevin's laugh was bitter. "I run a shipping firm. I've had rivals, strikes, jealous men, but not murders." "Grief makes memory sharp and wild," Hargreaves said gently. "Try to rest." But Kevin didn't rest. By afternoon, reporters had begun to gather at the gates. One of them, a young woman with calm eyes and a notebook clasped against her chest, asked to speak with him privately. "Elise Hart, County Herald," she said. "I'm sorry for intruding. Rumors grow wild unless trimmed by truth." Kevin studied her a moment, then nodded. "Ask what you must." Her voice was steady, sympathetic, but professional. "Did the killer seem familiar? Someone who knew the house?" "He went straight for the bedroom window," Kevin said. "That's no coincidence." Elise's pen hovered about the page. "Then he'd been here before, or watched from outside." She paused. "Let me help you, Mr. Callahan. I've covered crime in this county for years. I know how quickly evidence disappears." "Why help me?" he asked. "Because my brother's killer was never caught," she said softly. "I don't like unfinished stories." They began their search together that evening, starting with the late Anna Callahan's papers. Her desk drawers held ledgers, invoices, and a small address book with 3 names circled in pencil: Victor Lang, Edwin Pike, and a mysterious R. Dot next to the last name, Anna had written, "Stairs squeak, ask carpenter." Elise frowned. She must have suspected something. Kevin looked toward the staircase, the place where her body had fallen. Someone tested those steps. As if to answer, the old house groaned. The 3rd step from the landing gave a faint, plaintive creak. Elise met his eyes. She wanted that step to stay loud, she said. Maybe she hoped it would warn her. Victor Lang, the union organizer, was the first name they confronted. His office on the dock smelled of coffee and salt air. Lang's expression was one of surprise, not guilt. "I didn't kill your wife," he told Kevin firmly. "I fight with words and leaflets, not knives." "You threatened to shut down my peers," Kevin countered. "And you threatened to fire half your men. We've all said things in anger. But murder? No." He leaned forward. "You want a clue? Look at the men who wear silk, not wool. The ones who can afford to send someone else to do their dirty work." When they left, Elise murmured, "He may be rough, but I believe him." "So do I," Kevin said. "Which means our murderer sits in an office, not a dock." The carpenter confirmed what Anna had already written. She asked about the squeaky stair last week. Jonas Red said, wiping sawdust from his hands. Said she didn't want it fixed. Told me a man came when you were away, tried not to wake the house coming down those stairs. Kevin felt the world tilt slightly. Did she describe him? "Fine coat," Jonas said. "Too fine for a workman." Elise glanced at Kevin. "Their competitor, perhaps?" Kevin's jaw tightened. Edwin Pike. Pike received them in his office, where everything gleamed with expensive polish. He greeted Kevin with false sympathy and Elise with wary charm. "I'm sorry for your loss," he said smoothly. "Spare me the condolences," Kevin replied. "Where were you last night?" "At the Commodore's Club, dining with directors. Half the town saw me." Elise's eyes flicked to the torn cuff of his sleeve. "And they also saw you arrive late alone." Pike smiled thinly. "The sea wind is cruel to clothes. You of all people should know that, Callahan." As they left, Elise whispered, "He's hiding something, but it's not proof yet." Kevin's voice was low and hard. "Then we'll make him slip." That evening a neighbor, Mrs. Dalton, arrived at the gate wrapped in a shawl. "I saw a car last night," she said. "Lights off, parked by the elms. A man stepped out, tall, broad shoulders, walked like a soldier from the last war, whistled a tune as if to calm his nerves." "What tune?" Kevin asked. She hummed softly. "Blue Moon." Elise's pen froze midair. "That's not a coincidence. That's a call-in card." Piece by piece, the puzzle tightened. The sheet music corner found on the stairs bore the partial word row. Elise traced it to a pianist named Rowan, who played at Pike's club. They found him in a shabby boarding house, trembling as he spoke. "Pike asked me to deliver a note to Mrs. Callahan," he confessed. "Said it was about a charity concert. A woman met me at the gate short, with a fur collar and gloves. She said she'd pass it along." Elise leaned forward. "Did you hum a tune?" Rowan hesitated. "Yes, Blue Moon." The woman turned out to be Lydia Barr, Pike's secretary. Elise confronted her in a tea house downtown, where Lydia sat with perfect poise and a toucan smile. "It's a lovely melody to hum," Elise said casually. Lydia lifted her cup. "It stays in the mind. So does guilt." Her smile faltered. "You think I'm your villain?" "I think you know who is," Elise said. Lydia set her cup down. "Mr. Pike sent the note. He said it was urgent. I never stepped inside the house. I only opened the gate." "Then who did?" "A man he hired. A veteran named Rourke. He said it would only frighten her." Elise's expression hardened. Fright can kill as easily as steel. That night, Kevin, Elise, and Constable Hargreaves laid their trap. They left the lamp burning in the bedroom. The window slightly open, the same path the killer had taken. Wind rattled the glass as they waited in the dark below. Near midnight, a figure appeared at the window. The sash lifted silently. The man slipped inside, moving with the careful confidence of one who had done it before. Elise whispered, third step squeaks. The intruder froze as the stair groaned underfoot. Hargreaves sprang forward, revolver raised. The man lunged for escape, but Kevin stepped from the shadows. The two collided at the landing, the knife clattering away. The mask tore free, and there stood Edwin Pike. "You," Kevin said, his voice rough with disbelief. Pike's face was ashen. "You don't understand. She refused to sell her shares. I only wanted to scare her into signing. She felt I didn't mean." Hargreaves snapped the cuffs around his wrists. "You'll tell it to the judge." Days later, the constables caught Rourke at the docks. He admitted everything how Pike had paid him to enter the house and terrified Anna into submission. She had fought him on the stairs, slipped, and struck her head. He had fled into the night, leaving her to die. The trial was swift. Pike was sentenced to life for conspiracy and burglary with violence. Rourke received 20 years for manslaughter. When the verdict was read, Pike glanced toward Kevin. "You'll lose the company anyway," he sneered. "War's coming. Europe's burning." Kevin met his gaze without blinking. "Then I'll rebuild it from ashes, the same way I rebuilt myself." That evening, when the house was quiet again, Kevin and Elise sat at the kitchen table with tea steaming between them. She handed him a folded paper. "Anna wrote this the morning she died," Elise said softly. Kevin opened it. "If anything should happen, tell Kevin I kept the shares because the company is his heart, not his habit. Tell him I love the way he laughs when the wind howls, as if daring it to try harder." He read it twice before speaking. "She knew me better than I knew myself." "She still does," Elise whispered. Later, as they walked the hallway, the third stair sighed beneath their feet. Kevin smiled faintly. "I'll never fix that step." "A reminder?" Elise asked. "A memorial," he said, "to her courage and to justice." Outside, the wind still moved through the trees, but its voice had softened. The moon rose high above the country house, silvering the roof and the quiet fields beyond. For the first time since the night of the murder, the house no longer felt haunted. It felt alive again, steady, solemn, and whole. And somewhere, deep within the old wood and moonlight, The echo of a woman's laughter seemed to linger gentle, defiant, and free. The end. A Midnight Voices AI production.